So I can definitely say after last week's chapter, after we had a pompous brick that was like, oh, I'm so beautiful, look at me. Like, yeah, no, let's not go with the Vermilion, like, again, like that, because that guy, like, exactly how, like, Magna, like, just felt for the start of this, she was just like, and Sol, they were just like, oh, God, please, don't remind us, like, what we just did, like, for all of that, and, like, even though everyone's like, wow, you know, he was actually super good, it's just like, no, please, just move the fuck on, and actually, throughout this chapter, and it seems like what is going to be a little bit of the focus for what's going to be in this arc, since like it's been all over the place right now, is that we're going to be focusing a lot on Finral. Like, this seems like we've had a bunch of like the Blackpool members actually had their kind of like time to shine, and now this actually seems where it's setting up is that Finral's going to have his moment by setting up some real interesting stuff with him, since he's the only one character that's been in the entire group so far that hasn't had his like moment, or like we haven't really understand what was really with him. So I'm really curious to understand like what is going to be going on, especially with what this chapter has to set up. Considering that he was the first part of the chapter where it was him, Leo, Yamon, I believe there's like that really big guy and all that was like, oh, you know, we'll elegantly and gracefully advance to the next stage, follow me, like, and it's like, no, and February was actually one set I'm saying like, hey guys, would you like mind like leaving the offense here like to me and all that, and I was like, what the fuck are you gonna do like then, Vero? And like what he actually did was really clever. He decided to use his like teleporting like with his spatial magic, is that he uses it all the way around. Like he's saying like as like his brother can use it as an offense star, what he does with his one is that he uses it to the advantage of the other teams, kind of in the same way that what he did against like Vito when like Asta, then like everyone was kind of using him and all that to go against him, and he's just using both Leo and this other character's like just like abilities, using the glass creation and the fire, and it's just like, and the fact of the matter is like they trusted him so much right already and all that. It's just like, all right then, like Leo was just like, if you think you like, you know, you're tough shit and all that, I'm gonna take my full power, see if you can just divert this, and he just decides to put it all as he like does the spiral blades. And I kind of like that about Leo. Like Leo's like, I don't give a shit if you're like lower like or like middle like class mage or anything like that. It's like as long as you're just like fucking good at a fight and all that, that's all I care about. And that was, they ended up actually making a nice team and all that. Like also we didn't get to see too much of the other guys like ability and all that. We didn't get to see the other ones, like although he is a Golden Dawn member and his like glass creation like magic seems to be pretty good, so we didn't get to see too much of it. But like this clearly and all that pissed off like his brother, which we got to see a little bit more of there, which I think his name's like Langris, like I believe that was his name, like where he's like a Golden Dawn member as well, and like pretty much as well like he's a real high class. And him and like the Green Mantis guy that we've seen for a while were like one of the first people that was shitting on Asta since like the start of the series. We get to see like he has like this little motorbike like ability, and we didn't get to see what the other girl did though. Like I think they had like this Azure girl and all that. I think her name was like Fragile, like, and she just didn't do anything in the chapters. Like she was completely forgot about, and it's just like, oh, let me go on my motorbike and just like head straight on, and all he does is just cut up the fucking crystal just straight up, and it's just like that was nothing. And like clearly where they were setting it up as like the two decided to square each other off and all that, saying like, oh, in the next round, just don't get caught with my special magic, you know, your body might get taken away with it, not like I care. And it's like, you know, I'm sure mommy and daddy will be like very upset, especially that person as well, which is hitting at something that Finral, like running away from this family. We kind of know a little bit about this, that he hasn't been on the greatest terms with his family, and exactly this like, I'm gonna make sure and all that, and I'm gonna beat you. And it's like, oh, you're really gonna talk big to me now, big brother, like after all this time? And the question is like, who exactly is this person we're talking about? We know Finral's been a bit of a playboy since like since we've known him, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is actually someone that he was actually supposed to like marry. This is probably supposed to be like his fiance or something, and like a lot of their like under pressure and all that, he just like practically refused. So I like that like a lot of these arcs have been about a character, like you mentioned like a bunch of the arsenal that we've gone through for our Clover, that we've had more people like Magna's had his time shot, Silver's had her time and all that. We've had Vanessa, like from one of the last arcs that had a really great moment from there. We've had Luck as well from like one of the very early ons. Like the only characters is that we hadn't had this like that the one guy that I always forget his name in the Black Clover like group, and like Gray is like one of the only other characters that hasn't had like a time. And I guess as well, Chami, like she's been kind of there, we know a little bit about her, and she seems like the main joke character, so whether or not we're going to see a little bit more about her later on, I'm going to be a little bit more curious. But Finral has always been like, I even mentioned before, I think like Finral is one of the weaker characters in the whole entire group and all that. I think he hasn't had any too much like great time, and he decided to step his game up like in the last arc, and especially as well when he went against Vito. So I did appreciate that, like he was getting a little bit more screen time. But so, like I really am curious in all that, see if this is gonna like put him up a little bit, because so far in all that, Thin Roll has kind of just been there, and he hasn't been this exactly a strong person. And like the arc has been a little bit, I would say so far this arc has been okay, but it hasn't done anything so far and all that to like blow my mind away. So like if anything, it's like fine at the moment. Same with this chapter as well. Like wasn't impressive like in too many of the right regards and all that, but I thought it was fine to like, you know, just it was a decent chapter and all that. I was kind of happy and all that. We got to see a little bit of Finral like actually showed his stuff and like setting some stuff up with like his past and everything. So we're gonna get some little like, interesting stuff, I hope, as usual. But it wasn't like, oh my god, it blew me away at all and all that. So we'll see what's gonna be happening in the next chapter of Clover, and you know, we'll have to wait and see and all that what exactly the next one's gonna bring us. So let us see what you guys think in the comments section down below though. What do you think about this chapter of Black Clover though? But that is all from me. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you guys though